Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Tina and it's a beautiful day to be creating with you. I am actually going to be sharing the second part of this 3-page layout that I'm creating with our Cape Cod collection. I want to apologize. After the end of part 1, I was supposed to pop in to kind of give you an idea of where I was going and bring in my pile of cuts, and I completely forgot to do that. I think that falls in with what I was saying, even when I just have a few minutes, I have to be set up to craft and I have to be able to keep going and adding for whenever I have any time because, that's my life, it seems like. I'll make sure to put in some links to the other ways that you can join and connect with me and the CWI gang on our other social media outlets. This was the first page that I did. And as I mentioned, this is going to be, this part here is going to be 3 pages. One of the things I do when I am creating an album is I will, have it all in one box. And then I list all the different layouts that I need or topics that I need to cover. I list my album type. I list the date, the year. I put those, and I start with really quick, just grab a pencil, put some things down, and then the more I work on it, the more detailed this tends to get, and it really helps me a lot. I will make sure that I post this in the files on the Creating With You exclusively page, but if you're interested in having some of the organizational forms that I have that kind of help me with what I have, then just send me an email or reach out to me. I'm always happy to help everyone. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put this one aside, but this was our first one that we did, and mine's very specific as it is sea turtles. So I have incorporated our Turtley Awesome, and I forgot to put that in the original video, so I'll make sure that I add that to the links as well as the others. But there are some videos online. You can see this one here, or there is a video, excuse me, on Facebook that shows how I created these. And here's the card that I turned that into, and all the techniques on creating the water and the turtles and the coloring and all that good stuff are on the Facebook video. All right, let's dive in. All right, I'm really excited. I'm just going to move this over. This is going to be the white daisy sheet that we attach. Now you can see I've gutted the second page of the custom cardstock sheet that went with our first layout. You got the custom cardstock in the Scrapbook workshop. I am still crafting with the Cape Cod Scrapbook workshop, and I suggest you go back and check out video 1 so you kind of know where we are. It's part 1 here on the YouTube channel. All right, so I gutted this 1 inch all the way around, removing 10 inches from the middle, and then I also did that to a white daisy. All right, I want to create a frame, and I did not want to use all my paper, and I want the piece to go on top. So we are going to remove 1/4 inch all the way around, but I'm actually going to keep the 1/4 inch off of the sides. The top and the bottom I won't. It's just going to be a real, single color strip of paper, but for the sides, I'm going to have that nice striping of this color palette. So I'm going to keep these 2. All right, see how it has that whole color palette on there. And I've just put that aside with my Cape Cod scraps. All right, as part of my crafting process, one of the things that I really like to do is prep everything so that I'm ready to assemble by the time I get ready, and then share that with you, but also just kind of put in the tips and the techniques. That kind of got me there, if you will. All right, so I am doing this all to save paper. I've already used the inside of this. I have cut that up, and I created a couple mats over here. I'm going to attach this frame now. See, on our original one, you only saw a tiny bit, and that's all we really needed to bring this paper into both layouts. It left me with enough, removing that 10 inches from the center has left me with enough that when I do the cover of Black Rock, which is where I am here with the history of that, I can incorporate some of that paper as well as some into the courthouse that is going to go on the other side of that. But you guys will see that come together through my crafting. All right, I'm just making sure I'm paying attention to this outer border here. I want about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. There we go. Okay, so here I have a square that is 10.5 by, well, it looks like I'm a little off. I should be 10.5 by 10.5, and I look a little big. All right, we're going to shimmy this off. I'm going to shimmy. We're just going to go like this and hope I remember, right? All right, I'm just going to do a measurement check. I had trimmed this down a couple times, and whenever I'm doing squares, you'll often see that I will double check them. All right, but I hadn't decided what size I exactly wanted this. So that's 10 3/4. I want to make sure I give you guys the right measurement. It is 10 3/4. Okay, 10 3/4. All right. And I now want this on top of this one. All right, there we go. And I wanted to see some of that striping, so that is why I cut this so that I could have a little bit bigger of a border. Okay, really excited. I have a lot of time to share and craft with you guys over the upcoming weeks. So I will be doing probably a lot more videos than I'll normally be able to do. All right, just lining that up, eyeballing it. I'm going to grab my washi tape, and I just like to do this to kind of seal it. It's also a great way, if you feel a little bit of adhesive, you can cover it up with some washi tape, and I like to check for that as I'm going to. I'm always destashing my washi tape. I do not use it for crafting. I use it as a tool. So I'm always adding a new one that is going, and I try to get it on the clearance rack. All right, there we go. All right, I think we're pretty good. All right, so now I can feel really good that my page is going to stay together very nicely. Moving all over the place there. Okay, what I want to do is create a 9 square background, and when I do this, I come back to this all the time. I have incorporated melon, even though it was not a color. It's in between these two. I liked it. It's the color of the year, and even though it was a little bit off, I kind of saw little tones in different areas with it, so I decided I was going to go for it. All right, I'm just grabbing my background squares. I cut a 3 1/4 inch piece of by 12 of the, and I'll be moving these around, of the Lagoon, melon, and toffee. And then I just cut them again, right down, giving me 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. All right, we'll put these all out, and now we can start to move them around. Okay. I always like to move them one each way, so, but I have something in particular that I would like on the melon background, and that's this one right here. We're going to make a little something out of that. I think I'm going to be good with this. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put this down, and I do want it to be kind of even. If I can at all get it, that's always the goal, right? All right, so I'm going to say about right there, we think. I'm going to use very little adhesive, and I'm not going to rub it. Yes, I could take, I'm using, this is the light side of toffee that is up. I'm using almost no adhesive to put this down. I'm going to put in a couple of pieces and see if I like the way it's laid out. I can already see that it's a little bit high, so I am shifting this one down. And then because I'm not pressing down, I can move this around. I think we're there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add these other pieces. Might need to give a little rub now though. I also use the light side of the melon and the lagoon. So all light sides going on here will be facing up. As I mentioned in one of my prior videos, I use memory protectors, so I don't worry about using a tremendous amount of adhesive. I do use enough adhesive so that I know it's going to adhere and stay, but I don't worry about getting every single corner. If I'm not using memory protectors, I do tend to use a lot more adhesive and bring it all the way out to the edges of everything. Okay, I'm just going to give this a rub. There we go. All right, so even though this is all separated in these squares, and I can see I'm a little more this way than I am, I'm okay with that. I don't sweat the small stuffs in my scrapbooking. I have cut my picture down to 2 3/4. I've cut my picture down to 2 3/4, and then of course it was a 4x6, and then I cut this piece, these white pieces, at 3 by 6 1/4 so that I could frame these pictures on it. I'm gonna treat the checkered background just like that, like it's a background, but I'm gonna incorporate these as double mats when I bring these bigger pictures in, just like this. So I calculated this to leave this 1/8 of an inch all the way around, and that's how I got that. All right, this one's gonna go here. I did that 2 times. This is when I'm literally looking in the water at them, and it's coming right for me. This is my sea turtles, and here it is, and it is making its way right over to me. They just came, they're used to being socialized. This is not a paid exhibit of any kind. This is, this really is the, just in the wild. This is where they congregate, and they're used to having people, I guess, pop in and say hi would be a good way to say it. All right. I was trying to figure out what I was missing, and I realized that my pictures were out of order. There we go. Okay, so for this one here, I'm going to get my straight cutter for this. I'm going to remove that postage stamp frame. Okay, I come back to the 9 squares forever. I fell in love with this in the first sketchbook I ever got from Close to My Heart. I think it was called Reflections, and I have been making it ever since. So I do this quite often, and almost all of my scrapbooks have it in there 3 or 4 times. At least twice, but more likely 3 or 4 times. It is in my wheelhouse and my comfort zone. Okay, for this one here, this is a 3x3 now, but it's a little on the light side. So I'm going to grab a piece of white daisy, and I'm going to cut the white daisy just a tiny bit smaller, so at 2 7/8. I don't want to worry about having to make sure that I get it perfectly on it. Okay. I'm going to make sure I don't go all the way to the edge, but come in just a little bit when I put this adhesive on here. Although, and that 7/8 is not going to be much. This is really just to strengthen this a little for the pocket that we're going to make. There we go. And now it's a little firmer. Okay. Going to add a little bit of foam tape just on the 2 sides and the bottom, and we're not putting anything too small in the pocket, so it doesn't have to be perfect. There we go, and this is going to fit right on that melon color. Oh, it looks so pretty. And we've already created our pocket. So how easy was that? See, a little bit of foam tape, and now we'll be able to add our little additions, and that will become interactive in another way for this interactive layout. Very simple ways to make an interactive layout. Okay. There we go. I think I'm going to grab my other adhesive. I don't know why this one is squeaking so much. I have to see. They all make noise, right? All right, here we go. Just putting, this is a 3x3 of some of the Cape Cod. It's to bring in some of that periwinkle. And then over here, you know, I was pretty far out and George was taking some pictures of me. Not too far, but far enough. So I'm smaller. Here I'm like, it's right here. I'm telling him it's right here. It's coming. And it's right here. And then this is when it actually came over, swam completely underneath of me, brushed up against me. And this is me right afterwards. So I know that I'll be adding that to my journaling. So what I want to do is I want to put them in order. So this one, then this one, and when I'm having the flip flap flip up for this one, so that means this one has to be facing the other way. So I'm going to slide this in my flip flap. Okay, and this one here is actually going to go on the page. I'll be putting my flip flap on the memory protector when I do that part of the video. There we go. So this will go right here and it will be all set. This here I'm going to grab some foam tape for. I was so sad to see that Close to My Heart had retired the slimline foam. One, I love a slimline, but this is my favorite way to buy foam tape. If you add up what's on the inside of these, you get 6 of these per pack. It's the best way to buy the foam, and it's all pre-cut. So I really, I'll add that link to the, I'll add that link to the description of this post, just in case if there's any left. I'll have to check. All right, so this says, "You're turtly awesome." And I like that a lot. It just fit. You have so many stickers and so many embellishments. You can simply add another picture here. You can do some embellishing. You can do whatever you would like that makes that work. Now for this one here, I'm going to create just a little something, a little kind of decorational focal point right here. And here I have, that's that turtle right there. All right, kind of saying goodbye to me. I wanted to make sure I got a nice turtle shot on this page as well. There you go. And see, that toffee kind of brings him out a little. There we go. I am going to cut both of these down. All right, I'm going to cut this by 3 because it's just going to create a little decorational focal. And then I actually want this one also to be a little bit on the small side. So I'm going to cut this just by 1 1/4. And I'm going to keep this piece. I just threw it right in my case. I have one of the acrylic pieces that came with the Scrapbook workshop, the little starfish, and I have one of the coral pieces stamped in toffee from the scrapbooking set. And when I make my embellishments, I tend to make more than I need. I just run the die cut machine through. So I end up with more than I need, and they build up as I go, and I have to actually make embellishments a lot less. Put this down. I'll add that little wood strip kind of on top of it, leaving just a tiny little border at the bottom there. Right like that, just a tiny bit. We'll add the dovetail. The opposite upper corner. Yes, I went back to grabbing that adhesive. Good. And we'll grab a little glue dot to put this on. Super, super cute. Okay, for our little pocket that we have here, I actually have some great shots of a sea turtle, and I'm going to be adding that to the wood grain. Before you cut the wood grain, I am using the inside. I will not be doing the page that is in the guide in your scrapbook workshop. I will not be doing this one. So I gutted and left a 1-inch border. So you can go ahead and gut that paper and use the inside for these other cuts, and then you'll be fine to do the additional artwork that I'll be doing. Okay, before I put this on, I just grabbed some ribbon out of my stash, and you can really put the ribbon on with glue dots, or you can put it on with a stapler, you know, however you like to put it on. I'm just going to do this, fold it right in half, just like this. And you could put a glue dot there and fold it up and then attach it with a glue dot. I'm going to put this on the back. And I have a mini stapler right here. And I'm going to do 2 staples because I always do 2. That's the only reason. I'm going to ink this one here with some periwinkle ink. That's the color that I've been bringing in a lot. Oh, wrong one. Grabbed from the wrong side there. I'm going to ink this, and then I'm going to ink the sticker as well. And I'm not looking for it to be perfect. And I took my sticker and I rubbed it with my anti-static pouch to kind of take the sticky off the back. We only have the same level of foam tape for the pocket. So if you start adding a lot of foam tape to the items that are in your pocket, you'll find that they won't they won't slide in and out very nicely. So kind of keep that in mind as you're, you know, deciding what you want to put, what you want to add dimension to. Okay, actually I grabbed a different dauber. I'm going to do the same thing with this one here, just put it right in the back. And I'll have some room to journal on the back of this as well, to add some journaling to it, even though I plan to add journaling to my other page. All right, and this is a sticker from the sticker sheet. It says, "Sand under my feet, wind in my hair, salt on my skin." I just thought it was really cute. And this is a film strip print that comes out of my selfie. I think it's a great way to add, covering up those staples. It's a great way to add some extra pictures to your layout, but where you're not doing the same picture again and again and again and again. They are really small. You'll see this probably. I have a helicopter tour where I took hundreds of pictures. I will do all kinds of different things with like printing little collages and stuff like that. These two are going to slide right into our pocket. There we go. And this is why I made sure that when I chose this picture, that I was able to choose a picture that I could cover up above it. And that's why these pictures are laid out on this layout like that. All right, these are 2 different sizes. Let me give you the one for the white. The white tag is 2 by 5. And this one here was 2 1/4 by 6. All right, I like them to be, you know, different in height. I think it makes them stand out a little bit more. Okay, and I will attach this to the page protector, but let's add a couple more little embellishments to this layout. I had talked about these in part 1. These are the center of the large flower of the layered flowers, and I really love them as a textural element. I think they kind of just look like sea life. I don't know. They look like sea grasses and stuff. So I have been using up that layered flowers and it's not going anywhere. I have so many plans for it. I'm going to add, this is the toffee, and I'm just going to stick that right under there. And then this lighter one is almond. I'm just grabbing a glue dot. And there we go. It's just a little something, and I really like it. These are some of the seashells from the Thin Cut collection. And grab the wrong one. There is a sand dollar on my first layout. Right here. So I thought, let's bring that over and put it on this one. Using the technique from the workshop, I'm going to add just a little something to this. I'm just going to use my throwaway paper. It's hiding from me. It's never under the mat. I look for it. This is my just stamp off throwaway, and I'm just going to grab some of the ink that's on here. I have been using the toffee quite a bit, and there's all different ways you can add you know, your inks. Use your inks to paint with this small water brush, and this is just one of them. I'm do all different kinds of things so that you can figure out which ways you like the best. I went ahead and did a little background. I was planning on stamping it with the textural stamp, and now I'm just going in and putting a second coat to focus on the little star that's on that sand dollar. There we go. And for this one here, I'm going to just like very kind of just do the edges, but just not really try to get them perfectly, and just add a little bit. I think that's one of the nice things about beach stuff. When you have like the palette like this is, you know, it used to be called shabby chic, but it's kind of the perfect imperfections are, you know, welcomed. Just letting my ink kind of bleed out with my water. Not too much though, because this is White Daisy. Okay, and normally I would like to let those dry. They do look a little different when they dry. Let me go ahead and clean my brush a little. Okay, set this aside to dry. Okay, and we are all kinds of done. While these are wet, I don't suggest attaching them. I'm going to do it for the video, but I'm going to do it very easily. Really let them dry. All right, and then I'm going to grab some of the, all just goes together. I'm going to grab some of the dots, and I had opted to use Bluebird on the first page, so I'm just going to stick with Bluebird on this one as well. And the first thing I'm going to do is grab a little heart and put it in the center of that sand dollar. There we go. That was a large. Gonna add a small with it right up here. There we go. And I haven't been putting too much bling on this, and I think I'm good to go. I'm looking for any other place where I might add a little heart or something like that just before I'm done. I think I like it exactly the way it is. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and put these next to each other so you guys can give a little look-see. So I think these turned out really great. You can see I kept with that 1/4 of an inch, just like that die cut sheet gave us. And then I just brought in some things to personalize it using that Turtley Awesome Stampin' Thin Cut set. I also used the Wave. There's a writing in the sand, and that is where I got the sand and the water. It's all in that video, but I'll go ahead and pop the links in. And just what I like to call mixing all the things. We have the card making thin cuts, the scrapbook thin cuts, but really what shines here is that scrapbook workshop that gives us so many options to do so many good things with. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this scrapbook process video. I hope you guys are liking what you're seeing with Cape Cod. I have a lot more to do, and I'm really anxious to share with you. Do me a favor, let me know what you think. Tell me what you're going to be putting on these pages in the comments, and please hit that like button if you found anything useful, and don't forget to subscribe. It really does help me out here on the YouTube community. Thank you guys so much, and I will definitely see you back for another video soon. Bye-bye.